Factorizing. Factorize each of the following. 2a squared b plus 6ab squared, 4x squared y minus 24xy cubed plus 8xy squared, 2ax plus 6a minus bx minus 3b. Okay, so for the first one, 2a squared b plus 6ab squared. The highest common factor is going to be 2ab, which is what we take out. So we take 2ab outside the bracket, open up our set of brackets, and then we divide 2ab into each term. 2ab divides into 2ab squared and leaves us with a, and 2ab divides into 6ab squared and leaves us with 3b. Okay, so let's have a look at this a little bit more closely. So 2a squared b can be written like this. 2aab, because a squared is the same thing as aa. And then 6ab squared can be written as this. 6abb, because the b squared can be written as bb. So then what we can do is have a look and first of all see, is there a number that divides into both? So 2 will divide into 2 and 2 will divide into 6, so that's where the 2 comes from. And then we see, is there any letters common to both? So we have an A and an A, so that's where that A comes from there. And we have a B and a B, so that's where that B comes from there. So 2 into 2, that's just going to cancel, or technically it goes in once. A into A, that's going to cancel. And B into B, that's going to cancel. So all that is left is this single A. So that's why we have a single A inside the bracket. Then we do the same with the right term. So 2 into 6 is going to go 3 times. So that's where that 3 comes from. A into A will cancel. And B into B will cancel. And then we're just left with that B. So that's where that B comes from there. So 2ab divides into 2a squared b and leaves us with a. And 2ab divides into 6ab squared and leaves us with 3b. And if we want to check are we right, we can multiply out our brackets. 2ab times a is 2a squared b. 2ab times 3b is 6ab squared. So this is known as our HCF, our highest common factor. So next we're going to have a look at 4x squared y minus 24xy cubed plus 8xy squared. So the highest common factor of all three terms is going to be 4xy. So we're going to bring 4xy outside the bracket. 4xy into 4x squared y leaves us with x. 4xy into minus 24xy cubed leaves us with minus 6y squared. And 4xy into 8xy squared leaves us with 2y. So again, let's have a look at this a bit more closely. So 4x squared y, I'm going to write up here as 4xxy. So 4x squared y can be written as 4xxy. And then minus 24xy cubed, I'm going to write up here. So we've got minus 24xy, so we've got 3 y's. Then plus 8xy squared, I'm going to write up here as 8xy. So the y squared can be written as yy. So the first thing I have to do is have a look at my numbers. 4, minus 24, and 8. And I see what number will divide into each of those numbers. And it's going to be 4. So that's where that 4 comes from there. Then I have a look and I see, well, what letters are common? Well, I have an X here, an X here, and an X here. So that's where that X comes from there. So I've pulled out that X and brought it in front of the bracket. So now I've got 4X. And then I have a look and I see what other letters are common. Well, I've got a Y, and a Y. So that's where that Y comes from there. So we have 4xy is common to each. So 4 will divide into each term, x will divide into each term, and y will divide into each term. Okay, so 4 will divide into 4, and will basically just cancel out. 4 into 4 goes once. X will divide into x and cancel that out. And y will divide into y and cancel that out. So all that's left is going to be x. So that's where that x comes from there. So 4xy divides into 4x squared y and leaves us with x, because that's all that was left there. Okay, now 4 into minus 24 is going to go minus 6 times. So that's where that minus 6 comes from. And then x into x will cancel. And y into y will cancel. And we see that we have 2 y's left over, and y multiplied by y is y squared. So 4xy divides into minus 24xy cubed minus 6y squared. So that's where that minus 6y squared comes from. Okay, so then 4 divides into 8 twice. That's where that 2 comes from. And x divides into x, so they cancel. And y divides into y, so they cancel. And we're left with a y. So we're left with 2y, so that's where that comes from there. And again, if you want to check are you right, you can multiply out these brackets and end up back here. So 4xy times x is 4x squared y. 4xy times minus 6y squared is minus 24xy cubed. And 4xy times 2y is plus 8xy squared. Okay, in our last example, we want to factorize 2ax plus 6a minus bx minus 3b. So what we're going to do is take out the 2a as a common factor of the first two terms. This will leave x plus 3. To be left with the same expression, we take out minus b from the last two terms. Then we can finish the process by taking out x plus 3 as the common factor of what is left. So basically this is known as factorization by grouping. So let's have a look a bit closer at this. So if I break this down into two different sums, and I'm going to start by factorizing 2ax plus 6a. So what's common to 2ax and 6a? What will divide into both of them? Well, first of all, I can divide 2. 2 will divide into 2 and 2 will divide into 6. And also I have an a common to both. So 2a is going to be my HCF of the left hand side. So 2 divides into 2 and that just cancels, or it goes once. A divides into a and they just cancel. And I'm left with x, so that goes inside my bracket. Then 2 divides into 6 3 times, so I've got plus 3. And a divides into a and just cancels. So 2a divides into 2ax and leaves us with x, and 2a divides into 6a and leaves us with 3. Okay, so now I'm going to factorize the right hand side. So I have a look and I see what's common to both. Well, I have a minus common to both, and I also have a b common to both. So minus b. So that's going to be my HCF minus b, and I open up my brackets. So minus b and minus b will cancel, leaving me with x. So that goes inside my bracket. And then minus b and minus b will cancel, leaving me with 3, positive 3. So that goes inside my bracket. So minus b divides into minus bx and leaves me with x. Minus b divides into minus 3b and leaves me with 3. Now I notice that I have the same thing inside each set of brackets. So that's going to be a factor. And I'm going to write that down here. x plus 3. And that's going to be multiplied by 2a minus b. So now I have my two factors. So if I want to factorize 2ax plus 6a minus bx minus 3b, I end up with x plus 3 multiplied by 2a minus b, or else I can rewrite it the other way around as 2a minus b multiplied by x plus 3 gives me the same thing. So the factors of 2ax plus 6a minus bx minus 3b are going to be x plus 3 and 2a minus b.